Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Dalton from the Petrol List, and it is your Monday video. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. You know, subscribing is nice, but you might not want to see my face every Monday. But you can like, and you can subscribe if you want to see my shining face on your YouTubes every Monday. All right. Anyway. It was not a Formula One race weekend this past weekend, so it's up to me what I talk about. I wanted to talk about something that is both fun and, near and dear to my heart, so that I'm passionate about it. I decided not to talk about electric. Sorry, I almost threw up a little bit. Electric vehicles. Because we already know how the news is going. A lot of car companies are abandoning their all-electric vehicle plans. They're still going to have a market share. You know what? I'm starting to talk about it. I don't want to talk about that. The market's crashing for EVs. End of story. That's it. There's going to be a mix of vehicles for a very long time. Let's get started. I'm going to talk about the idea of moving to a two-car garage. I don't mean physically, uprooting my house and moving to a two-car garage. I already have a two-car garage. What I mean by that is I currently have three cars. A brand new 2023, it's not brand new, it's got 10,000 miles on it, which is still the lowest mileage car I've ever owned. I bought it with 150 miles on it. That's pretty crazy for me. I usually don't buy any cars. Anyway, so I've got that. I've got a little green Miata that I use for track duty. I've got a 2000 Audi S4. Now, buying tires and doing repairs and keeping them all registered and worrying about what's going wrong with each of them, that can be a chore. And then finding the time to drive them all, that can be a chore as well. And, this isn't me like bragging like, oh, hey, I've got three cars. No. I except for the Bronco, I bought all of them relatively cheap, and I did most of the work to get them up to snuff for my purposes by myself, or in some extreme cases, I did have to take the Audi S4 to the shop, had the engine out, all that kind of stuff, and now they're all three cars that I can jump in at any time and drive if I can find the time to do so. So the fantasy, if you will, is dropping down to a two-car garage, less decisions to make, less maintenance to do, and which car, because the car that I would go to in this hypothetical scenario, it would be a sports car. It would have to do track duty. It would have to be faster than the Miata. The only complaint I have about the Miata right now is it's a little on the slow side. I could throw a turbo in there, maybe spend about $5,000 or $6,000, put a turbo in there, and it would just be a little track beast. Or I could just buy something that is inherently faster, maybe a little bigger. So let's talk through it. The car kind of has to be special. It has to be visually appealing to me, and has to have a manual transmission, has to be relatively affordable. Okay, Nissan Z Performance, it's got a 3-liter twin turbo, good for 400 horsepower in the performance model and 420 in the Nismo. What that tells me is that 420 horsepower is not very far away. Maybe there's an intake, maybe there's a tune. All I know is that turbos, little turbskis, they take to tuning very well, and I'm sure I could have a 450 horsepower car quickly after purchase. 0 to 60 currently is 4.5 seconds. Like I said, it comes with a manual transmission. The only downside is they're still about $50K. It's hard still to find a used Nissan Z on the market. I like to buy used cars because, let the first person take the depreciation hit. I think it's really good looking. I met a guy at a track day one day that had one, and it performed on the track very well. I think that Nissan fixed a lot of the gremlins that the 370Z had. I had one of those. It was terrible at track day. It was terrible at autocross. It was a great street sports car, but you push it past 7/10 and all the nannies and some of the mechanical shortcomings started to rear their ugly heads. But from what I understand, they fixed that with the Nissan Z. So if I were willing to part with $50,000, that would be my other car besides the Bronco, which I would keep. The other one, 2021 Ford Mustang. It's got the 5-liter V8, 0 to 60 in about 3.8 seconds. The great news with this one is they currently can be had for about $30,000-ish, depending on the mileage that you're willing to put up with. 460 horsepower. That is about 200 horsepower more than the 2001 Mustang GT that I had way back in 2001. The only drawback of the Ford Mustang is they're quite common, at least where I live. Every third car is a Ford Mustang, and I do like unique stuff. However, it is a great performance car for money, so I would definitely, if I were really serious about it, would have to have that on the list. And there's great aftermarket support, and I know that the Ford Mustang GTs, they can do track days really, really well. I don't know what kind of mods they have on them before they hit the track, but I saw them running on the track all day in the heat. Naturally aspirated V8, so you know you're going to be running all day. You're not going to have any turbos to worry about. The new MR2, if it comes to the United States, it would have a what is it? 1.3 liter, 1.6 liter. I don't know. Straight 3 with a turbo good for 300 horsepower. Only problem is it going to come to the States? I don't know. And it's going to be about $65,000, which is more than I would really want to spend on an MR2. And it has a competitor that I would rather spend that kind of money on. I'll talk about that one coming up shortly. So if it came to the States, would it be a contender? I don't know. Again, that price point is a little bit high for what I would want to pay for an MR2, because for me that puts you in used Porsche territory, and for some reason I would still kind of rather have one of those. Speaking of that, 2009 Porsche 911, 385 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds, and they can be had for anywhere between $45,000 to $60,000. And so when I was talking about the MR2, if I was going to pay $65,000 for one of those, then I may as well take a really, really, really good look at Porsche 911 Carrera S. May as well take a look at that, because why not? It's a Porsche, and they still look really, really good. The last one is going to be the Lotus Emira. Those are coming in. I keep seeing first editions. I'm not really sure how interested I am in first edition or launch edition or any whatever. Just give me the car. That's all I want. But they're coming in at about $100,000. 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. 3.5 liter V6, good for 400 horsepower, and the thing is drop dead gorgeous. It looks like, I would say it looks like a miniature supercar, but I would to be more accurate, I would say it looks like what supercars used to look like size wise. So those would be the cars I would have to replace the Audi S4 and the Miata. I'd have to sell those, and then I'd acquire that other one, or I just keep the Audi as is, because it's fixed up, it's ready to go. It's a daily driver these days, on the days that I actually drive it. And the Miata, what would I do with that if I were to keep it for the long haul? I would definitely put a turbocharger in it, little turbski, and I could see myself going so far as fully caging that out, but it completely changes the car at that point. No longer would I be ready or able to do just little casual Sunday drives to the coffee shop and stuff like that because, even if I trusted driving it with a roll cage in it, and even if I trusted that my head would be down low enough to not smash it against a roll cage tube and cracking my poor little head open. Can you imagine getting to the coffee shop and then having to crawl out of a caged car? I think maybe about 5% of the population would think that you're really cool, and the other 95 would be like, "What's this guy doing? What does he have to prove?" So anyway, Nissan Z Performance, 2021 Ford Mustang GT, new MR2 if it comes to the States, Porsche 911 Carrera S, 2009, and a new Lotus Emira. I'm sure there are other cars that could go on the list, but those are the ones that come to mind. Those are what interest me, if you will. Let me know in the comments. If you look, two questions. Would you get rid of a 2001 Miata that's been built up for the track and a 2000 Audi S4 that is reliable AF? Would you get rid of those in the first place, or would you keep those? And then if you were to get rid of them, which one car would you replace them with? Hypothetical. Not saying I'm doing either of those things. I'm probably gonna keep these cars if I'm quite honest. But that'd be, fun little content to talk about. All right, let me know in the comments, and I will see you next week when the responsibility of coming up with crap to talk about is off of my plate because I'll be reacting to Formula One. All right, I'm out. The other thing I could have talked about was supercars. They don't really interest me right now. They used to interest me a lot back in the day of, like the Countach, the Testarossa, even the 918 Spider, the McLaren P1, and what was it, the Ferrari LaFerrari? I think that, those kind of cars, that was kind of peak supercar, and now they're dropping like 12 supercars every week. I already know the stats on all of them. 750 horsepower, mild hybrid, 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, and shaped like a melted Countach, maybe a McLaren P1. They're all kind of shaped like that these days. So we're just going to move on from that. And